Welcome to Top 7 TV. Today we are going to see the top 7 best-selling books in the world. In 7th place, we have the Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland is an 1865 novel, written by English author Lewis Carroll. It tells of a young girl named Alice, falling through a rabbit hole into a subterranean fantasy world, populated by peculiar, anthropomorphic creatures. The tale plays with logic, giving the story lasting popularity with adults as well as with children. It is considered to be one of the best examples of the literary nonsense genre. One of the best-known and most popular works of English-language fiction, its narrative course, structure, characters and imagery have been enormously influential in both popular culture and literature, especially in the fantasy genre. The work has never been out of print, and it has been translated into at least 97 languages, and it has sold over 100 million copies. The book has inspired numerous film and television adaptations. The most famous are the film produced by Walt Disney in 1951, and Tim Burton's 2010 film, Alice in Wonderland. In 6th place, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It is a fantasy novel written by British author J.K. Rowling. The first novel in the Harry Potter series and Rowling's debut novel, it follows Harry Potter, a young wizard, who discovers his magical heritage on his 11th birthday, when he receives a letter of acceptance to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Harry makes close friends and a few enemies during his first year at the school, and with the help of his friends, Harry faces an attempted comeback by the Dark Wizard Lord Voldemort, who killed Harry's parents, but failed to kill Harry when he was just 15 months old. The book was first published in the United Kingdom on June 26, 1997 by Bloomsbury. It has been translated into at least 73 other languages, it has sold around 120 million copies, and it has been made into a feature-length film of the same name, as have all 6 of its sequels. The book is dedicated to 3 ladies, relatives of the author J.K. Rowling: Jessica, her eldest daughter, Anne, her late mother, and Dee, her sister. An illustrated version of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was released on October 6, 2015, with illustrations by Jim Kay. In 5th place, The Little Prince. The Little Prince is a novella by French writer and aviator Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. The story follows a young prince who visits various planets in space, including Earth, and addresses themes of loneliness, friendship, love, and loss. The Little Prince became Saint-Exupéry's most successful work, selling an estimated 140 million copies worldwide, which makes it one of the best-selling and most translated books ever published. It has been translated into 361 languages and dialects. The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry has been turned into an animated movie. The inspiring lessons, timeless story, and beautiful quotes from The Little Prince make this a perfect choice for an on-screen adaptation. On the surface it's a simple story, but this little prince is as wise as they come, and his messages of compassion and goodwill continue to endure. Here's some of 7 life lessons we can learn from this enchanting tale. Don't be too fond of numbers, look after the planet, don't judge others by their words, but by what they do. And finally, remember to look up at the stars. In 4th place, The Lord of the Ring. This is an epic fantasy novel written by English author and scholar J.R.R. Tolkien. The story began as a sequel to Tolkien's 1937 fantasy novel The Hobbit, but eventually developed into a much larger work. Written in stages, between 1937 and 1949, The Lord of the Rings is one of the best-selling novels ever written, with over 150 million copies sold. The title of the novel refers to the story's main antagonist, the Dark Lord Sauron, who had, in an earlier age, created the One Ring to rule the other rings of power, as the ultimate weapon in his campaign to conquer and rule all of Middle-earth. From quiet beginnings in the Shire, a hobbitland not unlike the English countryside, this story ranges across Middle-earth, following the course of the War of the Ring through the eyes of its characters, most notably the hobbits Frodo, Sam, Merry and Pippin. The novel has been translated, with various degrees of success, into at least 38 languages. The Lord of the Rings has inspired, and continues to inspire, artwork, music, films and television, video games, board games, and subsequent literature. In third place, A Tale of Two Cities. A Tale of Two Cities is an 1859 historical novel by Charles Dickens, set in London and Paris before and during the French Revolution. The novel tells the story of the French Dr. Manette, his 18-year-long imprisonment in the Bastille in Paris, and his release to live in London, with his daughter Lucy, whom he had never met. The story is set against the conditions that led up to the French Revolution and the Reign of Terror. With insight and compassion, Dickens casts his novel of unforgettable scenes with some memorable characters: the sinister Madame Defarge, the gentle Lucy Manette, Charles Darnay, the lover with a secret past, and dissolute Sidney Carton, whose unlikely heroism gives his life meaning. Dickens' best-known work of historical fiction, A Tale of Two Cities, is regularly cited as the best-selling novel of all time. It has been stated to have sold 200 million copies since its first publication. The novel has been adapted for film, television, radio, and theaters. Dickens dedicated the book to the Whig and Liberal Prime Minister Lord John Russell, in remembrance of many public services and private kindnesses. In second place, Don Quixote. This book is a Spanish novel by Miguel de Cervantes. Published in two parts, in 1605 and 1615, Don Quixote is the most influential work of literature from the Spanish Golden Age in the entire Spanish literary canon. A founding work of Western literature, it is often labeled the first modern novel, and it is sometimes considered the best literary work ever written. The plot revolves around the adventures of a noble from La Mancha named Alonso Quixano, who reads so many chivalric romances that he loses his mind and decides to become a knight-errant to revive chivalry and serve his nation under the name Don Quixote de la Mancha. He recruits a simple farmer, Sancho Panza, as a squire, who often employs a unique earthy wit in dealing with Don Quixote's rhetorical monologues. While the novel enjoys surges in popularity now and then, especially in Spain, the sales number is a guess. It is the oldest book on this list, so it had a long time to accrue sales. By the 20th century, the novel had come to occupy a canonical space as one of the foundations of modern literature. There is, of course, no way to tally sales from the 1600s, so although some sources suggest that this book has sold 500 million copies. In first place of the top 7 best-selling books, quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong, better known as the Red Book, is a book of statements from speeches and writings by Mao Zedong, the former chairman of the Communist Party of China, published from 1964 to about 1976 and widely distributed during the Cultural Revolution. The most popular versions were printed in small sizes that could be easily carried and were bound in bright red covers, becoming commonly known internationally as the Little Red Book. Foreign presses operating in 20 countries contributed to the publication of 20 translations in 35 versions. The Little Red Book has produced a wide array of sales and distribution figures. Some sources claim that over 6.5 billion printed volumes have been distributed in total. The book's popularity may be because it was essentially an unofficial requirement for every Chinese citizen to own, to read, and to carry it at all times during the latter half of Mao's rule, especially during the Cultural Revolution. Today in China, the book is a symbol of Mao Zedong thought. In certain situations, the quotations is given as a gift, for example, when public funds are involved, or when personal events arise, such as congratulating newlyweds, and so on. Thank you! Thank you to have been with me. Don't forget to subscribe to the Top 7 TV YouTube channel. Love you all!